Consistency does not have to mean every day, all day. It just means that I show the fuck up for myself and the tasks in my business. I've also learned that consistency gives way to complication. You're listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. I'm your host, Jill Perrick, a business and mindset coach who specializes in imposter syndrome. If you feel like you're not as smart, capable, or worthy as you actually are, and that someone is going to find you out, then you've come to the right place. I went from being a struggling government worker, working my coaching business on the side, but feeling unworthy and burnt out, to making multiple six figures helping women overcome imposter syndrome so they too can sign clients, make bank, and have the business or career of their dreams. I am nothing special. I have a stuttering disability, ADHD, and I struggle with anxiety and depression. So if I can learn how to feel good enough and overcome my inner imposter, then so can you. Let's dig in. Hello, my angels. Welcome back to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. I'm Jill, a business and mindset mentor, and I help coaches overcome the imposter syndrome and the limiting beliefs holding them back so they can show up consistently, sell their services with confidence, and sign coaching clients. And I am taking one-to-one clients, but only a limited few before there is a wait list. My one-to-one clients receive access to an on-demand curriculum to help them market their services effectively and sign clients. They get weekly one-to-one calls with me and access to me in Voxer. And they also get workshops and group calls that I do monthly with all of my one-to-one clients. It is the best time to be a client of mine right now. So many amazing benefits, and all of my clients change their lives and businesses forever inside of one-to-one coaching. So book a sales call at the link in my show notes. The investment is $8,500. There's a big discount when you pay in full, and there are also payment plans available. The link is in my show notes to book a sales call. And let's talk today about being consistent as fuck in your business, because your coach Jill is a consistent little bitch, and I have been since I started my business in 2018. Aside from intentional breaks and holidays, I have stayed consistent in posting online and running my business since I started this business in January 2018. And it was 5 years back on January 19th, which is crazy. And being consistent has been a huge part of me scaling this business to 400K in just a couple of years. And I know that people are very afraid of the word consistent, but I'm going to make it easy as fuck for you today so you can be consistent as fuck. And it's definitely not something to be afraid of. So let's dive into it, because I'm going to give it to you straight this episode, because I get asked about this all the time. Jill, how do you stay so consistent? How do you always have something to say? How do you show up when I've got kids, a life, a job? So are you ready? So firstly, you have to be okay that life happens. Really. You have to just accept that life is busy, that your kids are demanding, that your job exists. When I have clients that go on and on about why they haven't been able to be consistent, I honestly tell them it's not worth it to tell me, because you don't need to explain why you're a human being and why life happens, you know? Instead, you need to just repeatedly get back on the horse. I've said this recently, but I'm going to say it again. I saw a TikTok talking about ADHD and how people with ADHD have a 100% relapse rate when it comes to their habits and routines, meaning that they're always going to fall off of their routines. And that isn't important that they're going to fall off. And I feel this so hard. There have been so many times when I didn't realize I had ADHD, where I would start a new diet or I would start a new habit, and I would get so down on myself because I would do it for a week and then I would fall off of it, and then I would just stay off of it, right? So nothing would ever stick. But that's not what I should have been focused on. What's important is that you just get back into it. And with my business, it didn't matter if I was off for a week and then I would show up again. I just always got back on the horse. I learned to never make this a problem that I had a life, or that I had a job, or that I had a social life, or that I had meetings or friends or family events, whatever, right? If I have a really good routine for creating content, but then something happens and I fall off of it for a week or two, I just start it up again when I'm ready. Stop spending so much time in the depths of despair about why you fell off and how you can stop yourself from falling off again. Just get back on the horse whenever you do. And again, let me just say, I do not have children. I empathize with y'all that have kids, but I have so many clients who have kids and they make it work. It's harder. It's 100% harder, and I will totally admit that. If you have a full-time job, it's harder. If you have kids, it's harder. But it's not impossible. And the more that you say that those things are excuses as to why, you will just continue to believe that they are excuses, right? And again, I say this with all the love in my heart. I totally understand, but consistency is totally necessary here in the online space. And if you have ADHD, or even if you don't, just learn to get back on the horse no matter what. Okay, and I also saw another TikTok about the brain and how the brain doesn't understand language by way of words. It understands by way of feelings and behavior. The guy gave an example of social anxiety and how if you avoid social interaction, the brain will interpret this as it's unsafe to be social, and the anxiety will only increase no matter what you try to tell the brain. Exposure therapy, aka just fucking do it, is super effective when it comes to anxiety disorders for this reason. And this is my philosophy with creating content and showing up as well. Just fucking do it. And I used to be so afraid to say that because, of course, there's reasons as to why it's holding you back, as to what is stopping you. And that's why we need coaches to help us through those things so we can just fucking do the thing, right? Because the problem is that your perfectionism has to give way here. You cannot prioritize consistency when you are stuck on perfection. And that's just the truth. Half of the time, I hate the graphics I post, or I want different colors, or my feed's not cohesive, or I didn't like what cover photo I used for my reel, but I just get the fuck over it and I post anyways. I use old pictures of myself if I need to. I do the basic notes app screenshot and upload it. I just fucking do it. The more consistent I am, despite the resistance I feel, the easier it feels to be consistent, the less daunting or heavy it feels. And listen, I think consistency, the word in general, gets a bad rap. Because what does consistency actually mean? It means whatever you want it to mean. Consistent to me means that my podcast goes out religiously every week, but I don't record every week. Some people do, and that works for them. But for me, I need to prepare to be consistent. So I do a lot of work in chunks. Like I schedule and plan my content. I don't do anything on the fly except for my Instagram stories. And even so, consistent for my Instagram stories means I post a piece of selling content 1 time a day. And again, consistent for my podcast means I write the scripts and record a month in advance, and that way it can come out every week without fail. Consistency does not have to mean every day, all day. It just means that I show the fuck up for myself and the tasks in my business. I've also learned that consistency gives way to complication, meaning it is enticing to want to add things onto your plate, shiny new objects like new offers and a new live series, a masterclass every month, but simplicity will keep you consistent. I sell my 1 to 2 offers max every month. I do something free every couple of months, like a workshop or a masterclass. I put out my podcast and I put out my Instagram content, and I don't overload myself with things to do. Like when I wrote my book, You're Not Special, the link is in the show notes to purchase that on Amazon. I didn't try to write a whole chapter in one sitting or write the whole book in a month. I committed to 30 minutes a day of writing every single day. No matter how I felt, how mediocre my writing felt, how much imposter syndrome I had, I just wrote my book every single day for 30 minutes. I committed to mediocrity and simplicity and consistency instead of this false illusion of perfection, and I got it done. Learning to work with your resistance is huge here too, and this comes back to something I always talk about, not making your emotions a problem. In this case, not making your resistance a problem. You will always feel resistance to a number of things when it comes to your business, because work is work. So many things about my business are exciting and fun, but also I hate writing emails. Writing content can feel so good when it's pouring out of me, and sometimes I'm like, what the fuck am I trying to say? But the resistance I feel doesn't need to be judged. It can just be there, and I can just allow it to be there and still do my job. And I totally hear you if you have ADHD and you have executive dysfunction issues where sometimes getting started on tasks can be so hard, but you gotta break the seal, and this is where ditching perfection comes in. One of my past one-to-one clients, Chelsea, made an amazing post where she said that a famous painter would throw paint on his canvas just to get the painting started, and so he wouldn't get caught in paralysis when it comes to his creativity. And that's how I see showing up and doing it consistently, especially because it's almost an everyday thing, right? You just gotta fucking do it. You gotta throw paint on the canvas and commit to showing up imperfectly and commit to it. I say this a lot to my clients, but the timeline needs to be released as well. I think a lot of people give up or drop off because they have an expectation of it should take this amount of time, it shouldn't be taking this long to get results, I'm going to keep giving it my all until this point. And these are very unconscious thoughts, but they do affect your consistency over a long period of time. I have always been all in for my business. There's been maybe once when I thought about quitting or not doing it anymore, but my longevity has no ulterior motives, and that's why I'm able to be consistent, because this is my job and I don't have a timeline on when it's supposed to work. And honestly, getting coached keeps me consistent. Being immersed in the coaching world, having coaching friends I can lean on for support, just getting coached consistently keeps me plugged into my purpose. Investing in myself and knowing that I have a human brain and it's going to tell me crazy things sometimes is what keeps me consistent, because I don't go very long without being coached on my thoughts. Having a coach and investing in my brain over the past 5 years has truly kept me so consistent. It has kept my skin in the game when it comes to coaching. It has kept me loving the coaching industry and investing in the very thing I'm trying to sell. And it has helped me do quantum leaps in my identity and what I think I can have and achieve, because I am constantly up-leveling internally. And one thing that I can brag about, my one-to-one coaching clients are consistent as fuck, and they're signing clients and growing their businesses as a result. And this is because inside of Worthy and Wealthy, my 6-month coaching program, I designed the curriculum and our weekly coaching calls to help you show up consistently, sell your services with confidence, and sign coaching clients. Book a sales call to work with me, one-to-one, at the link in my show notes. I love you guys so much, and I see y'all next week. Thanks for listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. Head to the show notes to find out how you can take this work deeper with me in one-to-one coaching or in the From Imposter to Empowered group program. In the show notes, you'll also find a free 3-day challenge to start the process of overcoming your inner imposter. And once you're done with all of that, screenshot this episode and share it on Instagram, tagging me at your coach Jill so we can connect. See you next time.